my shoulder should be relaxed and my elbow somewhat down here. So I don't want I don't want that. And the right hand, we draw an imaginary line from our hip and connect that to the wrist here. And we create this circle here. Remember we talked about the flow. Try to think of it as water. Okay, I line the forearm, the wrist, the back of the hand, the finger, so all that energy flows without interruption. Okay? And you bend the front leg, 60-40 stance. So make sure you're 60-40, weight sunk through the front leg, 60% front, 40% through the rear. Now you have to switch gears a little, because when you roll back, you're going to come up on the heel, and this is why I wanted to avoid that confusion, but those exercises with the ball are that important. So here we are here. In the process of rolling back, the left hand descends to the lower dantian, and the right crane head comes up the shoulder height. So you got to remember what your Qi Kung just taught you. So if you see your hand in here or out here, our Qi Kung's been teaching us it should be right in front of our shoulder here. Not this thing we got here. You just need to, if you'll permit me, just relax your shoulder. Okay, remember, just like your Qi Kung was showing you there. Okay. Now, you're going to seat that right wrist at shoulder height, so now that palm's flat. You're going to turn the body to the right here until the one palm is underneath the other. There's your Qi ball. And then think of the bird. Now, there's a bird in your left palm, your bottom palm, and the tail feathers go all the way back to your hip. The name of the movement is called stroking the bird's tail. So that'll give you a hint as to what's going on with the right hand. So the right hand comes down over that beautiful bird's head. And let the right hand brush right by that palm. Once it's past that palm, turn the left palm towards you and let it rise right to the center of your chest. This is just breaking it down very mechanically. And then push from the rear foot, drive to the leg. All you have to do is square up and sink the weight. And that'll bring your right hand back to the side where it was. So in the process of rolling back, the left hand descends and the right crane head comes up to your shoulder height. And your elbows are down. That's better. Come up on your heel here. Seat the right wrist so that the palm is flat. And then turn the body to the right. Feel your Qi ball. Then let the top hand come down. And then brushes past that palm, and at the same time your left palm turns towards you and rises to chest height, and the other hand sweeps back to the hip. Okay, not better than last week. Let's try some more. As you roll the weight back, the left hand descends. At the same time, the right hand rises. There's your yin and yang. Seat the right wrist, turn the body, create your Qi ball. Let the top hand come down over the bottom hand, and as you brush that palm by, turn your left palm towards you, up to chest height, and let that body move the right hand back to the hip. The body movement will do that in and of itself. Good, better, guys. As you roll the weight back, the left hand descends, right crane head comes up. See how your elbows are down? Much better. Seat the wrist, turn the body. There's your Qi ball. Top hand comes down. Brush the bird's tail as the left palm turns towards you. Front of the chest. Now go back to what your ball was teaching you and try to at least open the window to this understanding. As I'm rolling the weight back, this is my yin. I seat the wrist, turn the body. There's my Qi ball. Top hand comes down and it brushes. And here's my yang. So I roll it back, my yin. And this is all your yin, because this is all the gathering of the energy here, and this is the expression of the energy. Think of the wave. This is the expression of the wave to the beach. This is the drawing of the wave back to the source, or the ocean, if you will, in this case. Body turns. Hand drops, brushes, and this is the expression of the yang. Two more and then we'll switch sides. If you're willing to explore this concept of yin and yang exchange, you'll begin to add the internal component to it, and you won't be doing your Tai Chi merely on a physical external level. You'll begin to understand that Tai Chi is about the movement of energy, not the energy of movement. Okay, now let's take a moment, shake the hands and feet out, try the other side. You may not feel it right now. Honest to goodness, guys, that was much improved from last week, okay? So let's put our right foot out in front, and the right hand is right in front of the chest here, okay? And the left hand's back at the hip, okay? And if you can't see me, guys, then, so the right palm should be facing your chest here, and the left hand, the wrist is aligned with the hip here, okay? So, at the same time you're rolling back, the right hand descends to the lower dantian, and the left crane head comes to shoulder height. And then you're going to seat the left wrist. Now you just turn to the left and create your chi bowl. Then the top hand comes down, brushes, and now the right palm turns towards you, comes up to chest height, and see how the whole body's moving as one unit. So you just need your right hand out here, John. There you go. As you roll back, the right hand descends, and the left crane head comes up. Seat the wrist, turn the body to the left. And let the top hand come down, and brush. You need your left hand back to the hip there, Mike. And a little bit more, John. See how you're stood, your hand's out in front of you, your left hand's out in front of you. Has to be back in line with your hip here. So as you're rolling back, the right hand descends, left crane head comes up. And remember, Sophia, how the elbow's kicking out, right? So try to remember this is right from your Qi Kong, okay? Because that's what it was showing us, that it created the foundation for these movements. Try some on your own here, guys, and I want to come around and see if I can help you out here. What you have to watch there, Rebecca, is the weight's going forward instead of down. So make sure that the knee doesn't protrude past the toes. Make sure it's over the foot so it can create that transfer downward. Okay, and then you just want to line your hand up here a little bit, if you're just a little bit more like that, a little bit further. So you want to keep this a little bit of a circle here, Joyce. Okay. There you go. Okay. And at the same time, the one hand's coming down, the other one's coming up, and then the body will turn. And that creates the chi ball. And then the one hand will come down over top. There you go, that's it. And then sink the weight down. They would try to get, there you go, just straighten it out there. Okay. So you're here, Trudy, here. Yeah. You're going to roll back as the right hand comes down, left hand comes up. Right in front of your shoulder here. And then seat the wrist. And there's your body turns, and that creates your chi bowl. The top hand comes down over top to bottom, and as that brushes back, that right hand turns palm towards you, rises to chest height.
Yeah, it's funny how one side will do it and one side will.
One side's going to be more comfortable than the other, so that's a good option. No, seriously, you know. So, you know, whoever made that observation, very good. Try to remember that one of the things that this will begin to help us to see within ourselves, and don't badger yourself about this, it will begin to show us and bring to our awareness the imbalances that we're holding on to. And that can be from the male to female side. It can be many, many different things. So, you know, when you feel a little bit uncomfortable, in our system, the Chinese, as this system teaches, ask you to embrace that quote-unquote uncomfortableness, because now you're being made aware of where the imbalance is, and you have an opportunity through the modality and changing your perception of correcting the imbalance.
Well, you can see why we're not in the Olympics.
But everybody starts here, seriously. Everybody starts. Let me just get around. I'm not asking you to master it right now. That's it, Don. Make sure that the top hand comes down to meet the lower hand, not vice versa. There you go, that's it. Good. Should be the other way, John. Should be right hand at the bottom. Okay? So when this comes up, if you take a moment here, guys, if you would, just watch me for a moment before we move on. We're going to work on this each week, okay? Trust me when I say the first movement, which this is, is probably the most challenging to learn, because now this is the first opportunity that you're getting to integrate your awareness of your alignments and this change from substantial to insubstantial, the 60-40 weight distribution, all of these things that are challenging enough to make sense of in the beginning part of your journey. Now you have to begin to integrate those into this movement. So the first one can be very, very, very challenging. So don't think that you have to master this right away. If you get confused, the most important thing is to not go home and do nothing. Pick up the ball and do the ball. This is one of the reasons I introduced it, because every class is different. I'm not saying you guys aren't gathering things quickly enough. I'm just saying I have to give you the tools that will allow you to begin to get more comfortable with the movements. So this movement here, if you watch me, is really, in essence, the same almost circular movement that we're making. It's just a little bit different in how it's conceptualized here. But it's still the fluid exchange from yin to yang. It just flows constantly. Okay? So don't beat yourself up over it. But I do want to take, I'm not going to be able to get the linear work in, but I do want to go over Pong Lu Jian here, just to keep stoking the memory here and beginning to plant the seed. The Tai Chi is a continuous, almost a garden. You know, the seed is planted, but it has to be constantly tended to and cultivated. You know, you don't plant a seed and then the garden sprouts up overnight. So, you know, this is the way you should look at your Tai Chi and not beat yourself up. You know, sometimes we plant a seed and we go out there every morning, oh, it's not growing, it's not growing. And if we sort of just stay away from it, well, wow, it's beginning to come up. Okay, so let's give this a try. Let's put our right foot out in front. We'll start with the right foot out in front on this movement here. And this is called Pong Lu Jian. So there's 4 movements within this one stance. Pong is P-E-N-G, Lu is L-U, Ji is J-I, An is A-N. Pong Lu Jian. Often referred to as ward off, W-A-R-D, ward off, roll back, press, and push. Okay? But Pong Lu Jian is the actual name for it. Okay. So with the right foot out in front, same concept here. Hands in a pushing position. So the hands are shoulders distance apart, elbows down as we know, and the fingertips are level with your shoulders. And this is your on, or your push. Now when you roll back, this is called a transitional move. This connects the movements together. And this is called a wrist press. So as you roll the weight back, press through your fingertips without moving your arms. And then go back into your push. Okay? If you keep going, I'm going to turn around so you can see me better. So I roll back and I press through the fingertips. Without, see, I'm not moving my arms, I'm just moving my wrist. We're not in here to learn it, but I learned it from the fighting aspect of my master was very, very proficient at the fighting art. And he had what the Chinese would call iron fingers. So when he hit you with these fingers on this rollback, it was like a piece of iron going into you. Okay? That's where this comes from. Okay, so here we are here. Now, from your push, you have your wrist press as your rollback. Now, your left hand's going to stay where it's at, so your palm should be down here. It should be at shoulder, backs of the hand should be, remember, these are all important, guys. If you go back to here, if your fingertips are level with your shoulders here in your push, okay, so you have to have your hands up on a 45-degree angle here, and your fingertips are level with your shoulders. And if you don't move your arms, your left hand's going to be exactly where it needs to be. And then you turn the body to the left, and you bring the right hand underneath. And there's your chi ball. Now the left palm drops down and connects with the right wrist so that you can flex this crane head. Okay, the center of your palm. Draw a dot right at the center of your right palm. And a dot right at the center of your a dot at the center of your right wrist, and a dot at the center of your left palm, and connect those dots together. You should be able to flex your right wrist a little bit. Okay? So when this drops down and makes the connection, I should be able to flex this. The Pong energy is a gentle rising arc. So now I have to begin to make this arc, and I flex my right crane head a little bit, and it goes right up in a gentle rising arc, so that now that right crane head is right even with my chin. Okay, so you want this crane head to be even with the height of your chin. I'm short, so don't bring it down to mine, and drop your elbow a little bit there, Don. The right elbow, there you go, that's it. That's your palm. Now your lu. Keep your left hand where it's at and roll the weight back and turn your right palm up so it's in line with your right arm here. And then let the left fingertips brush by the heel part of that right hand and create this much of a spacing. Think of the palm that's up as having someone's elbow and the palm that's down as having someone's wrist. And you need to maintain that distance the whole time. So once you set that spacing, keep it as you sink the weight deeper through the left leg and turn to the left until the left hand is lined up in line with the left hip. That's your lu. Now this is an energy gathering move. So the left fingertips are going to circle downwards to Mother Earth and then upwards to the heavens. Then you're going to take the knife edge of the left hand and put that right behind the right wrist so that you can hinge this. And that press goes right to the center of your chest height. Okay? So if you take a look here, your right hand is almost like it is in stroking the bird's tail, but the left hand, the knife edge, is right behind that wrist with the fingertips of the left hand straight up to the heavens. Okay? And then you just want to sink it through the front foot there. Okay? This goes right to the person's chest. And just square your shoulders up there, Mike. Okay. That's your G, or your press. As you roll back, both palms turn down, and the left wrist goes over the right, crisscrossed. Then, keeping the body square to the mirror, separate the hands till they're shoulders distance apart. And then turn slightly to the left. And then guide your palms down to waist height. And with the hands at shoulders distance apart, let them rise up into your push position that you started with. Fingertips level with the shoulders. Let's try it again. As you roll back, this is your wrist press. Now the left hand stays where it's at. And as you turn to your left, the right hand circles underneath to create your chi bowl. And then the top hand, the left hand, drops down and connects with the right wrist so that you can flex that right crane head. And then in a gentle rising arc, that crane head ascends to your chin height. That's your palm. Okay, good. Keeping the left hand where it's at, roll back and turn your right palm up. And then let the left fingers brush by the heel of that hand and set the spacing so that you have the awareness that the palm up is at someone's elbow and the palm down at their wrist. Keeping that spacing, sink a little deeper through the rear leg, turn the waist, and you turn until the left hand is in line with a projected line out from your left hip. And then circle the left fingers down, up to the heavens, and put the knife edge of that left hand behind the right wrist with the fingertips of the left hand to the heavens. And then that presses to the chest height. Okay? So your right arm should be horizontal to Mother Earth, and your left fingers to the heavens, straight up in line with your chin and nose. And then as you roll back, both palms turn down, and the left wrist goes over the right. Shoulders and hips are square here. Separate the hands to shoulders distance. Slight turn to the left. Guide the palms down to waist height. And then create your push so the whole body works as one interconnected unit. One last time. Okay? Better. Okay? Roll back with your wrist press. Left hand stays where it's at. Turn the body to the left and let the right hand circle underneath to create your chi bowl. The left palm drops and connects to the right wrist. And in a gentle rising arc, that right crane head goes to your chin height. Keeping the left hand as it is, make sure your palm, Don, is lined up with the wrist here. because it has to connect the energy from the palm through the wrist and then out through the crane head here. In the process of rolling back, turn the right palm up. Let the left fingers brush by the heel part of that hand and set your spacing. Turn the body as you sink a little deeper through the rear leg. Circle the fingers down, up. Put the knife edge behind that wrist, and the press goes to the center of your chest. Left fingers to the heavens. Right arm is horizontal, just almost exactly like stroking to the bird's tail. Left fingers line right up with the chin and nose. Okay, as you roll back, both palms turn down, and the left wrist goes over the right. And separate the hands to shoulders distance. Slight turn to the left. Guide the palms down the waist height, and create your push. Now, just take a moment and relax, and I'll show you here. If I'm here like this, my wrist press, my pivot as I create the chi ball, my palm to chin height, my roll back or lu, this gathers the energy here, press, chest height, on is the setup for your push. Now, when we come in next week, the only thing you're doing differently, here's your ball, but the ball's just going in a different direction. Okay? So this movement here is exactly the same, okay, as your ball that you just learned going in the opposite direction. Okay? So don't try to think that you have to, as I keep saying, master everything at once. One of the main reasons why I introduced the ball is that, as I said, the empty hand is very, very challenging to remember. John is like sort of has an advantage because he's taping the whole thing. I'm not saying that in a negative way, it's a good thing. But for the greater majority of us, it's very, very challenging to go home and remember everything. Oh, I can't remember, I'm not going to do anything. But it's not that hard to remember the ball, you know? Create the movement, the circle, okay? If you do that, you're going to be creating the basis or the foundation of that movement, okay? And it'll make it much easier to begin to, you know, get more comfortable with it, okay? One other thing, guys, not to hold you up, I'm in the process of trying to somehow come up with a way to create a second class for you guys. It's very, very... In this art, it's very, very, very challenging, 1 day a week, okay? So we'll talk about it more next week at the beginning of class. You know, I have this schedule, and I'm trying to see if I can condense different classes together because there's not that many open slots in the morning at the facility, the Becoming Center. So first off, I have to, you know, look and see what is available, how I can possibly restructure, and then go to Gina and see if she's willing to do it. So if there's enough carryover interest from you guys to signing up for next time, then I'll do my best to talk with her and see if we can create at all possible a second class. And you would be amazed how much more you'll progress then. It's very, very challenging to try to retain all this information and then come back the next week. And okay? But thank you guys. Made a lot of progress in stroking the bird's tail. Okay? So
I was just confused. The second time it's...
yeah, the first time it's the palm connecting with the wrist, okay? So that this is the part that's doing the striking here. This is the part that's expressing the energy. When you do press, this part is still expressing the energy of striking, but it's chest height here. And this is here, knife edge is here as opposed to the palm. This is what they call press. Okay? So the first one is here, and then